What's cracking, guys? And let me tell you what's cracking. That's right, my boy Satoshi, or Ash Ketchum as we know in the States, has become world champion of Pokemon. Just as that title suggests to you, he's finally done it. And no, I don't want to hear any complaints about, oh my god, Noble spoiled me, oh my. No, this was as sure as Naruto becoming the actual Hokage. I don't feel bad about putting that up there in the title, nor showing a screenshot about any of it, especially since Pokemon themselves have already spoiled it on their Twitter account, saying he's finally done it as well, and he's become world champion. So, you know, I don't want to hear any complaints. Now, as to actually showing you the episode of what goes on in it, I am not here to just show that off, because if I do, my video will probably get copyrighted, just like my other video exploring, you know, Misty and Brock's return back in the day. They didn't like that one so much, but I at least can show pictures. But I at least can fill you in on some of the details in case you weren't keeping up with the anime, and that's understandable given that, you know, the anime itself is on like episode 132. And that's not counting the entire series that's come out since April 1st, 1997. So, over 1,219 episodes. I feel like I could forgive you for not keeping all the way up. But to say the least, Ash Ketchum was fighting a lot of worthy trainers out there. You know, the ones that you've seen all throughout there, like Leon, Cynthia, even Iris. And just trying to win a tournament to see who is actually the very best, like no one ever was. Yes, I know, I did the pun, I did it! But, you know, I'm gonna be making Pokemon puns throughout probably some of this here, because I figure, why not? And he worked his way up through the ladder to finally fighting the champion Leon. And it makes sense that Leon is his final battle rather than, like, Cynthia. Because, well, you know, Galar was Sword and Shield was the last thing to come out. I mean, Arceus kind of, but you can't send Red or, you know, Ash or Satoshi, whatever you want to call him, to Arceus timeline, because that would be in the past. So obviously, of course, he's going to be fighting Leon. It was a very cool battle, not gonna lie, spanned a few episodes. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Ash's cheer crowd was basically Dawn and a new girl from the series going on there. Very odd how all the other trainers weren't in the crowd to watch him, but, you know, that's a lot of people. I don't know how big of a budget the highest grossing franchise of all time has for its anime, but whatever, I'm not going to digress. And of course, he wins with a Pikachu versus Charizard showdown. Arguably, it was some of the most popular Pokemon, besides maybe like Greninja in there. And then, well, you know the rest here, because he becomes the champion. He wins. It's the name of the game of Pokemon. I want to be the very best. It was said in the beginning of the song, like no one ever was. Now, it's taken Pokemon 25 years for this to actually happen and pull it off, which is phenomenal. They actually did it. I never thought I would see the day where Ash became the champion before Luffy finds the One Piece. It is incredible to me how these two long-lasting series have taken this long. But the question here now is, Ash has finally done it. He's gotten everything. Yes, he won previous arc, you know, in Alola region as the Alola region champion, and some people thought his journey was over there, but no, he wasn't exactly the very best, which is why this arc happened, at which he actually did become the world champion. So, as an audience here, we're obviously happy for Ash, we're celebrating his victory, but we still are left with the lingering questions of what is going on with Pokemon, and is it going to continue? Now, there's a cliffhanger at the end here where Satoshi, or Ash, gets a little message saying, hey, there's something going on. And he's like, oh, he's super excited. And there's a to be continued. So we know that it's going to continue. We're not questioning that. But for how long, that's another question. Because we know that the new Pokemon series, Scarlet and Violet, is coming out, which is in line with the series ending here to immediately segue into the new Pokemon to promote both the game and the anime at the same time. And of course, the merchandise, which is the big hitter of Pokemon and the thing that gets all the stuff. Yes, I know that they're likely going to continue on to potentially that region, but it's not said for sure if it's going to be with Ash or if they're going to do something else entirely. Because Ash's motivation this entire time was to become the very best, the Pokemon champion, and he did it. He actually did it, the mad lad. Congratulations! But there's nothing left really to do now that you've become the champion. The game's over, just like in other things. Once you become the champion, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of end game, but other than that, there's not really much else to do. Now, as far as the official announcements have come out, Pokemon has stayed very, very silent, not really revealing all that much. However, there are a few leaks of the episode titles out there, and I'm not going to show that for obvious reasons, but it's looking kind of final what's going on there. It's, let's just say these final episodes are going to be quite interesting. So I'm going to start with some of the more likely theories of how Pokemon is going to continue. And then I'll go to the more interesting routes where I could potentially see Pokemon going. And then maybe I'll cross out some things that I just don't see what's happening whatsoever with this series. So let's see if you guys maybe agree with some of this. Now, obviously, I think the thing that's going to happen, and the most likely thing to happen, is that Ash is going to receive some sort of soft reset, as he always does. During these new regions, where he kind of loses his Pokemon and, you know, some of his memories and friends along the way. And then he just meets new friends, gets new Pokemon team, and goes about it just like everything else. And then eventually, you know, the other past connections just magically show up again. So it's like, oh, here you guys are. Oh, you're doing great. Fantastic. But where is that going to head, given that he is now the champion? Well, I guess he could still keep pursuing becoming the champion of every new region. That's something that's just not going to stop unless they change up the formula somehow. But given that it is the highest grossing franchise of all time, I really don't see that happening. The next most likely thing to happen here is, instead of featuring Ash himself, a new protagonist is going to take up the role. Now, I know that is something that's going to upset some people out there, and like, his journey's been there. It's been in our hearts for 25 years now. Kid has had 25 years of experience. At 10 years old, he's the perfect employee for basically every corporation out there. We're gonna be a little upset to see our perfect little employee go. Pokemon gonna get rid of Pikachu too with that thing. That's likely not going to happen. If they do choose a new protagonist, Pikachu is likely still to be there in some capacity. The candidates for, of course, for being a new trainer are just something completely new, or even perhaps maybe Satoshi grows up and has a kid. I don't know. That would be something interesting to keep tie in there. It's definitely something that could potentially happen. Who's he going to have a kid with? Well, I mean, I'm going to leave that one up to the Poke shippers out there. I ain't touching that one. All I know is Don showed up in the seat at the end of the championships there. So, I mean, hey, that's something. Now for another likely thing to happen out here. And the last likely thing to happen is, well, he still hasn't completed one particular goal, and that is to gotta catch them all. It's in the name of the game. Gotta catch them all. Pokemon, you know, like, he hasn't caught every single Pokemon out there. Now, I know Ash is more about the bonds of Pokemon rather than catching them all, so it's a little bit unlikely that he will go onto this route. In fact, I don't really see it happening, but it is definitely a goal that is still there, and will give him a reason to venture out to other regions to find Pokemon and perhaps see more Pokemon that weren't explored, and maybe even fight some legendary Pokemon and capture them. Wouldn't that be cool? And now we move on to the least, but still could potentially happen theories out here. One of them being, well, Ash has had this mystery surround him for the longest time, and where the heck is Ash's father? We have no clue on where this man has been. Hasn't really been brought up. There's fan theories that it could potentially be Professor Oak. I don't really buy that. And there's been another theory of this other man that's kind of looked like Ash Ketchum, and it's been kind of teased that it could potentially be his father, but we'll wait and see. But it would make for a good and interesting story if Ash did in fact go on this journey about this character who's been so mysterious for so long that it would definitely garner interest of many fans and probably get them into the series again to see just where that story would go. And it's likely would take place in the new region. Perhaps with the little plot twist that he is the champion of that region, and the reason he's been gone is, I don't know, he's been training Pokemon too, just like Ash, and he just hasn't bothered to go out because he's been a negligent father and rather Pokemon battle than raise Ash Ketchum. I don't know. Basically, another gone from Hunter x Hunter kind of situation out here. Feel bad for that kid. The other potential thing that could happen, but I don't really see, is Ash growing up and, you know, maybe becoming a gym leader or something of the sort. I don't see it. They will always probably keep Ash Ketchum 10 years old because they're trying to appeal to kids still. As much as we would like to see Ash grow up, they're not going to let that happen, much like Bart from The Simpsons. He's going to be forever a kid. For the least likely thing to happen, and I am just going to throw this out the table, I don't think 100% of this ever happening, is that the Pokemon anime is going to just end. I don't see it happening. It's going to continue. As long as Pokemon is the top grossing franchise of the entire world, that anime is going to continue to run. It may not be with Ash Ketchum, fine, but it is not going to stop, period. And if you want my opinion on what is going to happen, and the more likely thing to happen is, I think he's just going to get a soft reset. I honestly, it's happened time and time again. Ash just getting that soft reset, having to do everything from the ground up again. And I think he's going to continue just to defend his title. And it's going to be like that. It's like, yes, he's going to have other people that are going to be wanting to go after him to be the very best, more challenges to go. And he's going to have to defend that title of world champion. And it's very possible that he's going to lose. And he's going to be like, dang, I lost. And he'll have to deal with giving up his champion title. But then that's going to give him like, hey, guess what? I have to get that title back. And that's going to lead to another Pokemon series. So it can continue on from there. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think is going to happen with the Pokemon series out here. I've given you a lot of my theories. I'm sure there's plenty more of the series to discover and do whatever it is it wants to do. But I definitely think that I am going to be correct on this one. But I could be mistaken. I know, I'm prone to mistakes. It's fine. Maybe you guys have some theories that make more sense than mine. I'd love to hear it. Leave it in the comment section. And of course, maybe congratulate Ash for that fat W that he deserved after 25 years as a Pokemon trainer. That is something magical. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you beautiful sons of guns again next time.